everybody. Welcome to the Soulful Eclectic. I am your host, Diana Collins, and I want to welcome you to this episode. And if you are new, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I thoroughly appreciate you and the time you've taken to listen. And if you are coming back, welcome, 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 welcome back. I appreciate you as well for spending your time with me and coming back. It just warms my heart to know that you guys are sharing the feedback and sharing the content with your friends and family. So thank you. Keep it going. And I love the feedback. So keep it coming in. So today's episode is with someone that I met in one of my classes, my acting classes. And his name is Tony Privette. He is not only an aspiring actor, but also he is a former Navy, I believe, but he'll tell you more about that. And also, he is a psychologist. So I thought, wow, what a wealth of knowledge this guy has in his head that I would love to tap into and share with the community. So we're going to just talk about life and, again, being well and staying well, and then also add that veteran piece to it, right? So with that, I want to introduce you guys to Tony Privette. All right, so I have with me Mr. Tony Privette. Hi, Tony.
Hello, Diana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? He's so official, isn't he? He's like, hello, Diana. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in my chaos. I love it. I love the company in my chaos. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's always
the
great.
Chaos room. Chaos is where I'm comfortable.
Yes, yes, right? So thank you so much for being here. Like I told you off record that, it's just something that in the brief conversations that we had that I said, this guy has something. He has something hiding back there. I see it.
Definitely.
I see it. And I'm going to poke at it and see.
Well, let's see where we get.
Like the nurse in me wants to just poke at it, see what comes out. It's horrible.
I love it.
It's horrible. But yeah, so the first question, and probably the only question I'll probably have for a while. How is it that you have become, or are continuing on this journey of being your authentic self?
Well, it all started when I was young and I had no clue who I was, which I'm still kind of there. So we're working on it. But I was allowed to watch like R-rated movies when I was very young. So I got broad. Like I saw all of it. I saw all the movies, and like it just opened my mind to everything. And that's really what set me toward a path of, okay, I have no clue what's going to happen, and I like that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it all started like me joining. I joined the Navy out of high school, and like I didn't even want to do that because I had no clue what I wanted to. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I joined the Navy, and that turned out to be one of the best things I ever did. And I got to travel the world, and I got to experience things I never would have experienced otherwise, and meeting the people that I've met. And then going to college, which I never thought I would do, and getting my master's in human behavior. So, like, I'm still walking through this journey as if, like, I have no clue what I'm going to do, which is, like, I think it's the best thing because, I mean, I meet all these new people, such as yourself, and we have these great conversations, and, the things that happen to us in life, the people that we meet, it's such an incredible journey that I like to leave things open because when you leave them open, there's, eventually they'll close or
Mm-hmm.
they could stay open. So I just have been walking through this like a walkabout, like Crocodile Dundee,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that because that's one of the weirdest things about me. Everybody said you achieved all these things. How'd you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of just did it. I didn't have a plan. I'm like, I just like you. I joined the Army right out of high school because I had no clue. I did want to go to college, but hey, I didn't know how to start that whole initiative.
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly. Right? Yeah.
you know? So you get the commercial that says go be all you can be. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Why
Yeah.
not? You know? So
I watched Top Gun once, and I'm like, all right, I can go be Maverick. And then
see?
and then 2 months later, I'm swabbing decks. Mopping the floors.
Right, right. But it's that lack of direction that kind of geared us into that, and and it's still no direction, right? Because as you said, you just kind of waddle through life and
Yeah,
make
and
your
at
way.
some point, I just stopped listening to people's direction because I was kind of tired of it. Like I mean, I love structure and I love discipline and all that stuff. And at some point, I was like, all right, I have to start listening to myself, because if I keep listening to everybody else, I'm just going to do what everybody else wants me to do instead of what I want to do. And so I've started down the path of what I want to do, and I haven't cut anybody off.
Mm-hmm.
I still love everybody and I still listen to people, but I'm doing things for me now instead of the other way, which what wasn't the best thing to do. If you're doing something for somebody else, like if it's a significant other or a child, that's one thing. But if you don't have either of those and you're doing it because you might make somebody else be proud that you're their friend, I mean, that's not what you should do it for. And that's what I did a lot of the times, and I just ended up making really bad decisions. So now I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens when I want to do when I do what I want to do. So.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of us led the first parts of our life, and I say the first part because there are many parts to our lives, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So the first part of our lives, we are on that straight and narrow, follow the path. Our Yoda told us to do this, so we're the young Jedi's following, the sayings and the Force or whatever. And then
Right.
finally we get to that age where we're listening to the Force for ourselves and doing what we feel we should do. So I think we've all led that at some point. And some of us later, rather than earlier, figure it out. Like I figured it out later. Probably like when I turned 40, I was like, yeah, I don't have to listen to you people.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm barely getting there myself now, and I'm going to be 35. So yeah, I mean, there's no timeline for it. It's never too late. So it's just going with the flow. But you make choices, and there's consequences, or there's rewards, and you just live with them and you grow from them and you learn, and then you get better. And there's, so it's just keeping on your pathway to wherever you're going, wherever, if there's a stop or there's a fork in the road, or if there's a hole in the ground that you got to climb through, get up, it's all a learning curve, and it just makes you stronger and better.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that there's no timeline, because we are all so fixed on timelines.
Yeah.
Right. Our daughter is 25 and she lives at home. She boomeranged back home after college, right? That boomerang kid. And so she's like, Mom, at this age I should have been, have my master's, and I'm 25 and I should have the career on my way. I was like, who told you this?
Yeah.
Right?
No, exactly. Like, cause that's how I was thinking. My late 20s, I was just like, all right, okay, I got where I wanted to go. I've always wanted to be here. Now I'm here, and I was starting to do what I planned to do. But then I took a detour, and I'm still on that detour. Right. What am I doing? I should be where I wanted to be already. But and then it's like, okay. And I got pretty down on myself, I wouldn't, I felt like I was a failure. Like I was letting other people down when really I was just letting myself down, so and then when I got to a point where I was like, wait, what am I talking about? Like, I mean, I feel like I'm being ready to be 35. I still feel like that's super, super young, especially in today's world where people are living a lot longer. And, but yeah, there's having a timeline, like, okay, you can have a plan,
right?
But plans change, and, life happens, things happen. You have to do something else. And then, but, there's never a time where it's going to be too late for you to do something.
I like that. Plans change, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that your goal has changed, just the
Right.
plan to get there has changed.
Yep.
And I think
Exactly.
that's a piece a lot of the young generation that are in college and finishing college and things like that don't get, that you don't have to change your goal. You just may need to, change how you're navigating through it when you hit
Yep.
that brick wall.
Exactly. You have to adapt and overcome.
And that level of adaptability, they don't have.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, especially if you don't have somebody guiding you, or if you think there's no other way. Like, maybe there might not be another way, but patience is a virtue, and patience is something that I think a lot of us need to relearn, because it's been forgotten. We want our food now.
Yes.
Like the fine dining is almost a lost art. We're upset if we don't get our food on time, or the waiter isn't coming to see us that often. Like, it's supposed to be. When you go fine dining, you're supposed to be with people or just one person, and it's supposed to be like a long evening, a conversation.
Yes.
And then, you order drinks, and then you're having drinks, and then you order appetizers, you eat your appetizers, and then you order the meal.
Right.
I mean, it's like a course of 2 hours, and
yes.
it's for everybody to connect. And I think the smartphones have really destroyed
that. My goodness.
Because everybody's on their phone. It's like, you know what? Okay, we're going to dinner. I've got a basket. We're putting our phones in the basket, and I'm locking it in the trunk of the car. Okay? No phones at dinner. So, I mean, patience is just lost, and we need to find that again, because it's such a rewarding thing to have, and it's just something that almost everybody doesn't have anymore.
No, it's that instant gratification, right?
Yes.
Instant gratification, and we're all guilty of it. I mean,
oh my goodness,
Amazon, gotta love them, right?
Yeah. I know. I was like, I ordered something on Amazon, and then they said they delivered it, and they didn't. And I was like, Amazon, are you kidding me?
Right.
I want this. I was like, okay, I want it, but I don't need it.
Right.
But it's like, and then it came the next day, so I was like, okay,
right.
Calm down.
So you find yourself checking yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you really need this? This is not important right now. But when you have that inner monologue, it really slows you down.
Yeah. Yes. And that's something that people, another thing, inner monologue, people, like, there's no more thinking, there's just reacting and saying, there's no more like, what did I really just hear?
Right.
It's like, I heard something, like, even when we're texting everybody, you're texting your friend or somebody, and you say something, and they're like, what does that mean? But it's like, well, I mean, and then they get mad about something that you said on a text, when it's like, you just said something on a text, and they took it some way. It was like, that's what's, it's like emailing somebody all in all caps.
Yes.
Right? Like, okay, I'm yelling at you, but like,
like, no, I just forgot to take the caps off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it's just so hard to understand what somebody is saying and what they actually are meaning to say when it's on a text. So, like, I mean, I've had it happen to me where somebody, like, lost it on me because I texted. I think I probably was trying to be funny. And, and it just backfired for some reason. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is why I like to talk on the phone.
Exactly.
I told you I didn't like texting. This is what you wanted.
Right.
But, yeah. So.
And it goes back to the individual and what they were doing prior to that, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, it's we have a hard time differentiating between something that is going on between, let's say, me and somebody else, and then somebody is talking to me and they say something that triggers something that just happened with me and somebody completely different than the person I'm talking to now, but I project all that stuff onto this person.
Yeah.
And that's what happens so much, and that's why there's a lot of especially with all the politics stuff that
Oh
that
man.
happened previously, like with family members, and there's no communication skills.
No.
There's no listening skills, and there's no understanding skills, and it's I think it's I don't even know what I think about it all because it's just so much. But I mean, people just have a really hard time being able to accept that other people have opinions that are very different.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
we are allowed to. That's what
Yeah.
makes us all human, right? We're not all
Right.
going to agree on the same things, but we should be respectful to one another, and their on one another's opinion.
Yes. The respect. There's people don't have respect for anybody, and they don't understand that, and then they get mad when people aren't respecting them.
Yes.
It's such a back and forth thing. It's just a big circle. It's just like a big 360 going on.
It really is. And
Yeah.
this pandemic didn't help matters.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
No.
gosh. We were talking about a lot of the mental health and what's going on in the community, and talking about communication and the lack thereof. It just increased that.
Very much so. I mean, because if you look what happened, like it isolated everybody from everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I think the divorce rate like went way up too
Oh
because
yeah.
they were saying people actually had to be with each other.
Right. You have to realize if you like the person you're married to.
Yeah, I mean, that's not funny, but I mean,
it's the reality, right?
Yeah, I mean, because I had a couple of friends that it happened to them, and it came out of nowhere, really. But technically, I mean, I don't really think it did. I just think there wasn't any communication.
No.
So that's why it seemed like it came out of nowhere, because there wasn't any talking going on about what was really going on.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Like people can't know if they don't know. So it's just this, and that took away and now I think with the Zoom capabilities and iPhone capabilities with FaceTime, it's people still have a way of communicating with people, but it's just it's everything has changed. Everything is going to continue to change. Maybe one day we'll get back to some version of what we've had, but
yeah, I think it's going to be a continuum of what we already are seeing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I can't even imagine how it is for the children who aren't able to have other interaction with other children, because that was the best part of growing up.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And then especially the only child's
yes.
Now so there's just a huge disconnect, and it's even getting the disconnect is getting even wider because of the isolation and the lack of social. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but just being able to go out and have friends
and socialize, right, with one another,
socializing and just being a kid. It's not here right now.
Yeah, and we already have a group of students or kids that are socially inept. On their own. So now we just exacerbated that and added more children to the list.
Right, so now they're going to go back to school and be like, whoa, that's my box of milk. Okay,
right?
No, it was
right. Don't touch my desk.
Yeah, that's my piece of chalk. I write with that on the board. No, that's so it's everything's mine instead of all right. Let's learn how to share. But remember, we're sharing what's everybody's. Not if I bring a bologna sandwich, that is my bologna sandwich.
Right.
But no, yeah. So I mean, it's. I hope kids are allowed to go back to school, but when it actually is perfectly safe to do so.
Yes.
I don't want it to be rushed, because we don't want this pandemic to go on longer than it has to, but we don't want to shorten it to where it just gets worse again.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. So, you talked about being in the Navy. I'm just going to go back to that just for a little bit, because I am, being a veteran, and it's just one of those things that are near and dear to my heart. And during this pandemic, the veterans and those that are houseless, I mean, homeless, houseless, depending on however you want to put it, have such a already had that disparity, healthcare disparity going on, and then add this piece to it.
Yeah.
How have you, or if you have noticed, or have you interacted with anyone, or what suggestions you would give to anyone that is dealing with that? And we talked about communication and having effective communication, and we're all got to talk through these damn masks now.
Yeah.
We already have bad social cues that we are misguided by our own interpretations. Now add a face mask where we can't see you smile, or whatever the case may be. What do you think about that? You're a behavior specialist, so I want to know your take on it.
Oh yeah, no, and especially with veterans, because it's been a while, but I have gone to like hospitals and had chats with veterans, especially veterans that are PTSD and all that, because eventually I want to get licensed as I want to be a therapist, and all that. But what I would say is that there are so many. I know it doesn't feel like it, because there's a lot of times where veterans are just, brushed to the side and they're not thought of. And they feel like that, especially. Mm-hmm. There are so many people out there willing to listen and help. And through any avenue, whether it's social media, if there's, you don't have access to social media, there's phone numbers, and I know, but there's a lot of people to talk to, and you just have to talk to somebody. Even if they're not a veteran associated with veterans at all, even if it's a family member, and say, hey, I want some help. In the VA, they're backed up. They've got a lot of stuff going on, and it takes a while. But don't give up, especially on the VA. Because that's why the VA has other options as well. Because there's so many hospitals and places where you can go and get free therapy, mm-hmm. and just have a friend to talk to, because there's hotlines, and it's just so important, because keeping a constant communication with somebody about what's going on with you, and instead of just keeping it in, it's so much better to talk out loud. Yes. And have somebody hear you than it is to just, not talk. Just keep it inside, because I've got a lot of friends that saw some things, and, they're pretty messed up, but, they have, they talk to somebody. Even me, technically I'm not licensed for anything, so it's not unethical for me to talk to them about it. Mm-hmm. So, and I just, that's what I want to do. If nothing else, being a therapist and just sitting with somebody and letting them talk, and me just listening, and them knowing that I'm actually listening to them. Yes. There's no other greater reward than that, for both parties, for myself and for that person, because they're getting something that they haven't had. Mm-hmm. And it's just so important for that, because, it's rough out there. Yeah. For a lot of people.
For veterans and non-veterans, is rough out there, right?
No, exactly.
And just having someone to talk to it speaks volumes. And the piece to that is also to not be judged by what you're saying.
Yep. And that's the biggest thing.
Right? Because people are quick to pass judgment. And I'm like, okay, you can't pass judgment on me, because your house isn't that clean either.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's every time I get into somebody's car, and it's it's just filled, there's so much trash, I don't say anything, they immediately apologize, and I was like, it's okay, I grew up in squalor, it's all right, I've seen worse.
Worse, right.
I'm not going to go in there and judge. Maybe they saw something in my eyes that was judgy. Well, don't look me in the eyes.
Right. I don't know what to tell you.
No, but no, yeah, like judge. How can you judge somebody, especially somebody, even if it's somebody that you know and you've known your entire life? That judgment hurts the most.
Yes.
Not from somebody that you don't know, because that's what you expect. It's almost expected that somebody that you don't know is automatically going to judge you.
Right.
So, and then that's you judging them. So that's how it happens.
Yes.
That's how it works, So sometimes the hardest thing is to deal with the closest loved ones that you have that just judge you. And that could, lead to, okay, I'm going to shut down. Now I'm not going to talk.
Right.
And that's what happens a lot. And it's just, there's that, and it goes back to the communication and understanding. There's not a lot of that going on. And patience is the biggest thing.
Yes. And not, and expectations. Right?
Yep.
Because we all come in with our set of expectations on what we are, want the person to be, what we want to see, what we want to do, and even what we want to hear. And when we don't, that's when we start really to lash out, and things get ugly.
No, yeah, we all want that, Disney princess fairy tale to happen to us, but sometimes, we're the ugly stepsister, and it's just going to take us a while to get to where we're going.
Right. And hey, and that road that we travel is going to be bumpy. You may fall, but it's that tenacity and that perseverance that builds us to where we are, and that is what's going to sustain us.
Yes. And the understanding, it's understanding the lessons that we're given, and the what we've learned from those, but you have to understand what's being taught, even if it's not from somebody. It's like something happened to you. All right. So let's see, like, what did that really mean? All right. It's just a building block. You build off of it. You can't let it. And the hardest thing to do is just not let it just sink into you and feel the weight of it. That's and then just carrying that weight. That's what makes everything hard, but it makes it worth it too, because once you never stop carrying that weight.
No.
Of whatever it is, but you turn that weight into muscle, and then it's just memory. And it's something that you just don't forget, because you shouldn't never forget it. It's a memory. There's a reason that it happened, and it's something that you will always remember, and that's okay. You don't have to bottle it and forget about it. That should never happen. You should always remember it, because what it is something that helps you grow as a person and a human being, and it makes everything so much better.
Yeah, it's a part of you.
Yeah.
And I always say that, we've all made dumb mistakes in our lives. We've all done dumb shit.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it. Some more than others, right?
Myself included.
Right. So we've all done some, we didn't get to be the age and we are by not doing something stupid.
Right. Exactly. My mother will attest to that.
But it's through those stupid things that we've done that we've learned, one, that we are not going to repeat that and do it again.
Hopefully.
Some things we did it twice just to make sure it really was stupid.
Yeah. No, it was bad the first time. This time's going to be good.
Yeah, right? It's like,
I was wrong.
Nope, it was still stupid. But it's through that we're able to build the foundation of ourselves and who we are.
Yes.
And it's what fuels us as we go on this journey. And I think about all the stupid things that I've done. I'm like, you're just an idiot. What the hell were you thinking? How did you think that was going to work? But it's like, okay, but you try to continue and grow from that, and from that, I think that's what really leads us to be our authentic self, and allows us to be that authentic self, because we give ourselves that forgiveness for being stupid in those moments, and acknowledge that we will continue to probably be stupid and do stupid things. And it's okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I mean what you said, forgiveness. I mean that's the hardest thing to do anytime. Like especially for yourself. Like it's hard. Okay, all right. Can I forgive this person for what they did? I don't know. It's just a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing happens with ourselves. Can I forgive myself for doing that? I don't know. But I mean, it's just like saying I'm sorry, right? It's one of the hardest things to do. So as soon as we start taking responsibility for things that we say and things that we hear, you know, like that's the biggest thing. Like, okay, this is what I heard, not, you know, well, you said this. No, it's like, well, I heard this. As soon as we start doing that, we put the I in there instead of you, then I think we can start to really ground ourselves and really start to move forward.
Yeah, that I in there instead of you. Look at you first. That, you know, turn that finger towards you first and figure out what happened within you, and then
that's where you start the conversation. You know, it's like, look, I know that this happened. You know, I heard this.
Yes.
You know, and then so I mean, you know, it's so I apologize for something that I said because of what I heard, and you know, and I've had conversations like that because you know I'll be drinking with friends and then we're talking about some kind of topic and then I heard something and you know, okay, I might have been a little drunk,
right?
So. And then, you know, this turns into an argument, and then it's almost fighting, and then it's like, all right, you know what? And I'm just going to go, blah, blah, blah. And then really thinking about sitting into the conversation that was being had, I was like, okay, you know what? I was wrong. I had absolutely no business being in that conversation because I wasn't in that conversation. I came in like middle way, heard something, which was definitely taken out of context. And so, and then I started going off and, then I was like, all right, I heard this. It wasn't anything that you said is what I heard.
Right.
I mean, we're best friends, you know, so it's taking accountability for things is another thing that people have a hard time with. Me especially.
Yeah, accountability is hard because you have to look at yourself and acknowledge that you did something wrong. And no one ever wants to admit that they did something wrong.
Right. No.
God forbid.
I wasn't wrong.
No, I wasn't wrong. You were wrong. Right? That's just exactly how the conversation goes. But when you talk about communication, looking at the I, that's the important piece. You know, and I've watched like tons of marriage counseling. What's that? Marriage boot camp and all those crazy shows.
Oh yeah.
And under all the chaos that is there are really some valid points that they put out there. And one of the ones is the fact that you acknowledge this is what I heard you say. And this is how it made me feel hearing that from what I perceived you said.
Yep.
Right? And I'm like, wow.
And that's such a like great exercise. And that's why they do that, you know, like it's not that these therapists are know-it-alls. It's just that's what they know is like, okay, here's where the problem is. It's you, not me, and it's got to be I.
Right.
And you know, and we. Yeah. Not individuals. You know, so it's like I did this when we did this. You know, so it's how we say things, and that's why like so many arguments happen is because it's just. You know, the wrong thing is said, and that person wasn't trying to say it that way, but that other person took it that way, and there's, you know, so it's just such, and that's why things get so they go left field because it's like why did this just happen?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And tone, the tone.
Yes. Oh yeah, tone. Yeah.
Oh man, I get in trouble for tone all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
It's just I'm naturally sarcastic. It's just it comes out so nonchalantly. It's sickening some days.
Yeah.
And I've gotten in trouble even at work for it with the students because they would come and say, I was like, why can they say things to me and I can't say things back to them? Okay. It was stupid. Yeah. What they said was stupid, and I acknowledged that it was stupid.
You're right. No, right. Hey, that's a great learning lesson, right? That's a lesson right there,
Right.
and they learned something. But I mean, it's such a double standard with teachers and students now.
It really is. It's like they're adults, right? You are adult enough to say it to your professor. Why can't your professor be adult enough to respond to you?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at younger kids, middle school, high school, and elementary, those teachers get as much, if not more, FaceTime with the parents.
Yes.
So they're part of the family now.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying let's go back 50, 60 years where they got rulers and they're spanking them anymore.
No.
There's just a lot of,
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So when you speak about tone, I just think about how many times I've not only gotten in trouble at home by my parents, but
yeah,
and in the military. It's like, what?
Right? I know, especially when like my mom, what did you say? I was like, I'm sorry, Mom, I am your son.
Right.
And then, then it's really on.
Oh yeah, for real. Right? It's like, what do you mean? Like, oh man, I'm gonna just shut up. And the faces. Oh, I make great faces. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What my mind and my mouth, what my mouth doesn't say, my face tells it.
Oh yeah. That's why it's like, if you don't want to get mad, just look the other way.
That's it. Because my face is going to tell you how I feel, and you're not going to like it. I know. It's horrible. And my students even, they make, like, on my report, on the evaluations, they're like, Professor Collins, her face. I know I did something wrong when she makes this face. I'm like, oh, jeez. Okay, I got to fix that somehow.
That is funny.
I don't know. It's like when especially if it was stupid, I'm sure I did make a face. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean, like when I was in my master's, I had this professor. She would always clown on me. She'd be like, "What'd you just say?" And then she would just in front of the whole class just clown on me, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I was like, "See, now this is worth it."
Yes, but you can't do that to a lot of students. They're very sensitive. It's really different, and I've honestly, it's just the past couple of years I really had to curb my behavior.
And that's what's so like that's what separates the great ones from the okay ones. It's understanding that, okay, I see I've got these, but here's this one, so I can't really be like that, because even if it's just one kid, I don't want that one kid to be uncomfortable or feel like they're not welcome, or just to feel like an outcast. That's not, I don't, so that's awesome that you do that. I know it takes the fun out of it, but hey,
it does, but it's all good, and you want everyone.
We want inclusion,
right?
We don't want to discount anybody.
Yes. So definitely, I did, and it's just amazing. It's crazy how adaptability, to be adaptable, right? And the Army and nursing has taught me nothing but to be adaptable.
Oh my goodness!
And flexible.
Yeah, no doubt.
Flexibility and adaptability.
Yeah.
Hurry up and wait.
No, exactly. It's like, you better not go out there and get sunburned, because if you do, it's punishable.
Right.
Because
like, who says that?
You don't own your own body. The government owns you. So
like what in the world? How am I? Okay.
Well, I was like, okay, well, now I kind of want to go get sunburned.
Right, because, I want to see what's going to happen. How you like that?
Yeah, no, it's, exactly. Do as you're told, so it's...
Yeah.
Hey, all right, give me the order. I'll go do it.
Right. Oh my gosh. So what is next for Tony Privette? What's next? You talked about being a therapist. Are you doing that now, or are you in school?
Well, so right now I'm not in school, but I do want to continue like getting working on my hours to get licensed. So I have. I don't have many hours that I've completed, but I would like to do that. And then eventually I'm going to go get my doctorate in that field. And then eventually I would like to start my own practice. Like Billy Crystal and Analyze This, just out of my house, And I want to work with, married couples, kids, adults, teens. I want to work with everybody. I don't want to just focus in one field because I've dealt with it all.
Right.
I've lived through a lot of the stuff, and but yeah, so I definitely want to continue down that path. But I'm putting a lot of my time and energy into this acting thing. I think I have something to offer in that field, and I want to see where it takes me because I've never given myself really the opportunity to do that when I was in good positions,
Gotcha.
to be able to. And I wasn't 100%, into that. I was like, I was all right. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go party, and partying took over. But now I'm like super laser focused in on the acting. I just want to see where that gets me. And, if nothing happens in the next couple of years, I'm not going to stop doing that, but then I'll put more focus in on my my licensing and doctorate, and eventually I'll become who I'm supposed to become. But right now I'm still on that journey. I'm loving every second of everything that's going on, and I'm very happy that I met you and everybody else in our class. And it's so much fun. So
yeah. That's awesome. All right, because that is amazing. I like it. It's a nice plan. Yeah. I actually did it the other way around. I'm finishing my doctorate. God help me.
And that is amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thanks. Yeah. Well,
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. A doctorate during the pandemic. That's totally. Yeah. So, but I can't wait to see what comes out next. And I know you're going to be great because, just being in class with you and, you reading with me, it's all good. I can just totally see it.
You're amazing as well. So I'm excited to see what everybody's going to be doing.
Absolutely. I think we have a great group of people that we're working with, and definitely Billy is awesome. And very encouraging, which is very helpful.
Oh yes.
I told Billy, I said, I use you for therapy. I just need you to know that.
And I think he loves that too, because what, he's brilliant at what he does, and really it is therapy, because you go there and he has this ability to he takes your mind off of everything and he gets you where you need to be, and he's so in the moment and just in your face, and no, yes, I love it. So he's amazing.
Yes. And for me, who is that introvert that likes to pretend she's an extrovert,
yeah,
it really is helpful. He's like, no, be yourself. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
And isn't it? It's funny how hard it is to be ourselves.
Yes.
Because it's funny. It's when he was talking about finding our brand. And who we could play and getting our brand down, so that way when we take headshots, we look like what we should be playing.
Right.
And that for me is the hardest thing, because I have no idea.
Exactly.
I think I'm Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura, or Robin Williams and Mork and Mindy, because that's what I grew up watching.
Right.
So I have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
I might be Mighty Mouse,
Exactly. Dude, I don't know who I am. I spent my life pretending to be these people, whoever wanted to see.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's his brilliance, because he's getting it out of us. I'm starting to see who I am, instead of who I think I am or who I want to be. No, this is who I am. Yeah. And he's excellent at helping people discover that.
That he is. And I thoroughly commend him for that, because I honestly know I would not be in this acting field the way I am, and it actually helped me branch out to even take the leap of faith to start the podcast.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. Yeah.
Right? You can do anything with the right motivation.
That's right? It's I don't need anyone to tell me I can do this. I can do this just fine.
Right. Sometimes you just need somebody to just get you there. right?
Yeah.
But it was always there. You know, sometimes you just need some good words of wisdom.
Yeah, and believe in yourself, right? And
Yeah,
and that is the biggest part of being your authentic self, is believing in yourself and trusting
yep,
yourself that you are the best person you can be,
yep, exactly.
right? And that's all we can do, is present ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Who showed up? I showed up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that is powerful. Then you can hold your head up high and be like, didn't matter that they didn't like me,
Right.
because that was me that they saw. I didn't try to make them like me. You know, if they don't like me, they don't like me, because that's who I am.
Exactly.
And
And
there's nothing wrong with that. And then, so
yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what we have to get into our own minds. That's what we need to teach the community at large, that you have to be you. Showing up and being you and your authentic self is all
yes.
that anyone should want to see,
Oh yes, exactly.
right? So yeah, so oh my gosh, I can talk to you. We can just keep going and going, but I don't want to take up
Right?
too much more of your time, because I know in about a few hours we got to get ready for class and stuff.
Gotta get old Billy
Got to get
yelling in
Billy
the ear
ready, get Billy out, get Billy-fied.
again. Yeah. uh,
Oh my goodness. But I do want to thank you so much for, sharing and coming on with me, and chatting and just having a conversation about life, communicating and being your authentic self, and, sharing a part of you with the community. I thoroughly appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I had a blast.
Yes, and definitely we probably will do this again.
For sure.
For sure, because I know there's more layers to Tony in there.
Oh yeah,
We
there's a
got
lot.
we got some
I hid them from you.
right.
No,
I
no,
not. I'm like, come
no,
on, let be for real.
no, I didn't. We just, we had a couple questions that we took a lot of time on, and there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
and
that.
and there's
But
nothing wrong with that, and it was conversation that needed to be had, right?
yes,
Because it
definitely.
it laid the foundation for future conversations, definitely, because
Yes,
there's just so much more to share with the community that can help lift the community, which is the whole goal and purpose behind it. And yeah, I appreciate
yes,
you. Thank you
totally
so
agree, and I
much.
appreciate you for having me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, and we definitely will be in touch for the next episode. So if you got anything that you feel like you want to get out there, by all means, reach out. We can definitely talk about it.
I definitely will, and I can't wait.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Tony. You have brought so much information to the world, I would say the community, to anyone who wanted to hear it. And I just want to say again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you bring. I appreciate you keeping our mental health afloat, especially during this time. So I definitely have great appreciation for you, and I value you and thank you. My fellow battle buddy, we didn't serve together. He was Navy, I was Army, but we're all brothers and sisters in arms, especially when we all serve, to keep us all safe and preserve the democracy that we all so love in this country. So thank you again. I appreciate you. I appreciate your transparency, and I look forward to our next conversation. So if anyone out there would love to subscribe to the page, please feel free. And if you have any questions, you have questions for myself, you have questions for Tony, please feel free to send me an email, dc@thesoulfuleclectic.com. And you can also reach me on Facebook, DC Soulful Eclectic, and also Instagram, the Soulful Eclectic. So, with that, I leave you with, please check in, take care of yourself and each other, and always remember that even though times get tough and you feel like you're alone, we don't walk this earth alone. There's always someone out there who's willing to lend a listening ear. And sometimes they're just a phone call away, a text away, and they're there to listen without judgment. So definitely utilize the people that are around you, and maybe those that are not so around you, but there's always someone. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing the feedback, and I wish you all love and light. Namaste.